Sometimes, history is shaped behind silent doors. Beyond the high walls of grand palaces, a faint line appears drawn by hands unseen. Humanity rarely notices this line until it splits into a fracture that separates entire civilizations. Catholicism and Eastern Orthodoxy. Two great branches of Christianity were born within such a fracture, two traditions emerging from the same root, two paths looking to the same sacred texts, honoring the same prophets, following the same Messiah. Yet across centuries, these two paths walked both side by side and apart, marked by fractures that left deep scars. Their separation is not merely a story of religion. It is a story of empires, cultures, political powers, and the destiny of humanity. This story begins with the division of the Roman Empire, Rome in the west, Byzantium in the east. At the center of both worlds stood the transformative power of religion. When the early Christian communities survived the periods of persecution and became the official religion of the empire, they were no longer only spiritual guides, they became centers of political authority. And this power would draw the invisible lines that would later widen the divide between Catholicism and Orthodoxy. In the West, the authority of the Pope in Rome grew steadily. In the East, the churches saw themselves under the spiritual leadership of the Patriarch of Constantinople, the great figure of the Eastern Roman world. Different languages, different cultures, different political balances, and over time, different theological views. Combined, these elements slowly but inevitably pushed the two traditions apart. The first major rupture came with the Filioque controversy. It appeared to be a single word, a small theological detail about the nature of God, yet it created a deep fissure that alienated the two worlds. The West emphasized that the Holy Spirit proceeded from both the Father and the Son. The East believed this went beyond the original gospel teaching. Behind this debate lay the political struggles shaping medieval Europe: imperial power, ecclesiastical prestige, and the battle for spiritual authority. Then came the year 1054, an event remembered as the Great Schism. Envoys from Rome entered Hagia Sophia and placed a document of excommunication upon its stones. That moment was far more than a piece of paper being set on the floor. It was the final signature on the last page of a 1,000-year unity. With that act, the Western and Eastern churches formally separated, and yet the split only made the cultural and political tensions between the two traditions more visible. The Crusades deepened the wound. The crusading armies did not fight only Muslims. In 1204, they sacked Constantinople, shattering the very heart of the Orthodox world. This trauma remains alive in Orthodox memory, carrying with it the lingering bitterness that shaped relations for centuries. But how different are these two great traditions? When we examine rituals, worship styles, and spiritual symbolism, the contrasts become clear. In the Catholic world, the Pope is regarded as the vicar of Christ. The Church is governed through a single central authority, and its theological disciplines develop under Rome's leadership. Catholic churches feel orderly and quiet, flowing with rhythmic prayers. Their artistic expression rises skyward in the monumental stone cathedrals of Europe. The Orthodox world, by contrast, is decentralized, centered around multiple patriarchates: Constantinople, Moscow, Jerusalem, Alexandria. Its worship is mystical, filled with icons, incense, and deep hymns that create an atmosphere of sacred immersion. Time flows differently. In an Orthodox church, in the liturgy, one does not simply observe a ritual, one enters a world. Another distinction lies in theology. Catholicism embraces a rational, scholastic tradition culminating in medieval scholasticism. Orthodoxy, however, moves through a more mystical and intuitive approach, seeking to feel the mystery of God rather than define it. These differences shape how each world interprets life, faith, and the sacred. Yet despite their divisions, Catholicism and Orthodoxy are far closer than many assume. They share the same sacraments. They draw inspiration from the same apostles, They worship the same Christ. Neither considers the other non-Christian. Each views the other as part of a larger sacred family. Their separation is less a matter of belief than a product of history's labyrinth. By the 20th century, as global power structures shifted, the two traditions began to draw closer again. Popes and patriarchs met. Mutual excommunications were lifted. Complete unity has not yet been achieved, but the two churches now see each other less as rivals and more as partners on the same spiritual journey. Catholicism and Orthodoxy, two paths, two traditions, two worlds. They were shaped through wars, separations, political struggles, and theological debates. Yet their stories meet at one essential point: humanity's search for meaning, hope, and transcendence. Empires have fallen, cities have burned, borders have changed, but the invisible line between these two traditions still remains, sometimes silent, sometimes whispered, sometimes emerging like a shadow whenever history shifts once more. Today, the two traditions no longer see each other as enemies, but as different interpretations of the same story. Still, the marks of separation endure. The echo of ancient hymns in the walls of Hagia Sophia, the memory of centuries-old authority, struggles in Rome. The spiritual divide between Eastern mysticism and Western order. These are not erased. They are etched into the cultural memory of the world. But perhaps the most important truth is this: their story is not only a tale of separation, it is a reflection of humanity's endless struggle to understand faith itself. For no matter the denomination, the ritual, or the tradition, humanity continues to ask the same question: through which door does the path to God truly pass? The answer is still debated, and perhaps the real truth lies in the fact that all these paths ultimately look toward the same light. And that is why their story is far from over. These two traditions continue to shape not only the past, but the future of the spiritual world, sometimes together, sometimes apart, yet always under the same sky. If this story made you think, we will continue exploring the dark corridors of history together. If you wish to uncover the beliefs, empires, and unseen powers that shaped our world, join me in the next episode. Do not forget to subscribe and leave a comment. See you soon. Live with curiosity. Stay with knowledge.